she don't really right now. Even if she would try to go for the title, she don't need the title right now, and I think it fits for her just fine what she's doing. Mm-hmm. It's different aspect on her. Very entertaining. She's showing that she has skills other than just being Alexa Bliss and being a great wrestler,
right?
Being a champion. So I think it's what they're doing with her is the right direction. I give them credit for that.
Now,
and her credit too.
If there was another woman wrestler in part of WWE that may have a dark character, who would you think it would be that might pitch a dark character?
Women or
female wrestler? Yes.
Female. Female wrestler who have a dark side. At the top of my head right now, the one woman I know. One I think of that would probably at the top of my head, ones that I actually know pretty well, fairly well. Might be Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley? Okay.
That'd be the one I can think of. I'm on the side, but I don't know every female wrestler in the company, especially in NXT, or the ones that are coming. I'm still trying to get to know people more and more as the time goes. Yeah. Anyway, Rhea Ripley would be someone I could see. It would need to take a little time to get the adjustments, but yeah.
I could see that. The one that pitched the dark character was Liv Morgan. But basically, it was just using some of her history as
that's another thing. Liv Morgan would have a pretty good shot at being more dark character too. Actually.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. When I read about this, because it was an interview that she did with Fox Sports, I'm like, well, with that, I mean, it'd be kind of like Alexa Bliss in that this character's not quite that, but I could see how it'd work. Because those two seem like they would be very demented dark. Kind of like a Joker from a Batman movie dark.
Absolutely.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's why it really works with Bray Wyatt, too, because he's doing this Mr. Rogers character on one side, and then he turns into Mr. Hyde, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the whole setup. I like the whole deal with two sides, and like you said, Mr. Rogers on one side, and on the other side, it's the dark side. It's cool. And he brought in Alexa Bliss, and one thing I like about it is that he's not having an entire big. He don't have a crew necessarily. It's like you don't have the Wyatt family, which I think it works even just better now. Not to have a crew or a family with him. I think it works out just fine. I don't think he even needs anybody right now besides Alexa Bliss doing what she's doing.
I like the Wyatt family a lot.
Oh, me too. I'm saying right now where this position is, I don't think he needs anything like that at all.
No, I don't think he needs it. I just think it really worked for him as a character.
I think it worked better than prior times. But I think Wyatt family was great at that, when they were around, absolutely. But I think, with his character evolving to what it is now, I think he's doing just fine what he's doing now, and as Alexa, that's great. And, don't need no group or anybody, The Fiend don't need nobody. He can take care of himself. No. It wouldn't make any sense for him to have a flock around
him. A flock like Raven.
Yeah, the family flock, group, crew, whatever you want to call it.
No, I knew what you meant. I'm a big Raven fan, so that kind of made me laugh. Yeah. It's one of those where I really dug the Wyatt family, and I think this duality of Bray is working for him.
Absolutely, by far. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to evolve to in the future. Now he's going to be more into a looks like something more into a direct feud with Orton, which is cool. It's kind of rehashing the old times, but it's going to be something different, I believe, too.
Mm-hmm. Before we get off of WWE and whatnot, it made me think of something here because we were talking about we talked about the bad comedy things. Did you see that Shamrock did a interview and they're talking about a storyline he rejected about his sister Ryan? Did you see that?
That was tough. Yeah, I saw that a long time ago. You talked about something like that by Ryan Shamrock. Yeah, there
Why?
was different talks about that, huh?
Why does Vince McMahon like to do incest storylines?
It's to him, it's entertainment of that makes good entertainment to
How?
him. It's he can do it here. He can. You know they were gonna do the same thing with Paul Burchill.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. I know.
it,
I mean, he kind of hinted at
I
it
know
with even
it's
Stephanie
something
McMahon.
I don't know. I mean, it's pissed more often than you think, but it's in his taste buds, I guess. It's Vince has an interesting mind, you didn't say the least.
I don't know what's going on with him. It's it just doesn't make sense. I don't. He's always about doing these weird things, and I just don't know. Like I don't get it. Why he thinks this is a good thing. And do you remember? And this is why I hinted at with Stephanie McMahon. Do you remember when Eric Bischoff was wearing a Vince McMahon hat and then kissed Stephanie? Like, I, I don't know. Vince McMahon's a weird dude, and this is just
So
a situation of it.
he looks at what he does is not, it just took him the last over the past year or so to found. I'm gonna say it a year or so. That's a good ballpark to finally say the word wrestling. Not him personally,
That
but
he let wrestlers do it, or referred to the title belt as a belt.
yeah, it's just because he for the longest time they wanted to not think of themselves as wrestling. They wanted to be. He said a long time ago, we're the movies, we're Hollywood, we're sports and entertainment. That's all we are. It's like they for the longest time they didn't want to be referred to as wrestling. They don't want to be referred to as wrestling, which is when I heard now when that first came out. I don't mean the one that he said back in the '90s. I'm about last several years ago. Uh, we're trying to drift away from wrestling. I'm like, dude, your company's revolving around wrestling. Everything that ends in it is in a wrestling ring. So it was disappointing. That's where, of course, TNA had their motto: "Wrestling still matters." It's just he wants to make it more Hollywood, like he's done for years.
And it's weird because it kind of seems like Vince McMahon thinks wrestling's below him,
In a
which
sort of way, it's like it is below, but in his mind, but it's not. It's he just tries to make it to where he's always trying to get away from the wrestling. It's just making more Hollywood entertainment. And there's a ring for us to act in. And had that mindset for years.
doing entertainment's not bad. Doing movies and having an opportunities for your wrestlers to expand out is not bad. But
No, that's fine.
don't reject where you came from.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he didn't want to be the wrestling company. He wanted to be sports entertainment, and that was his thing for since he pretty much took over the company. And it took him a while to get a little while to get into that aspect. But the more years grew up, even if you go back to the hard years, back in the mid '90s, we'll say, um, he kind of lost at that point too.
Mhm.
As WWE always trying to evolve to more Hollywood, the more they could do to cause stir up. So, anyway, that's just. I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I just take into what there is. I mean, some things can be entertaining. Some things are just terrible, but sometimes you give it a shot. And, you know, uh, it's yeah, it's sometimes it's a little bit over the top, obviously.
Mhm. I don't know.
I just hope that Tony Khan don't get that wild hair.
I hope so. No, either.
I
I don't hope that. I hope they stays away from it as well.
I mean, you can have the entertainment side of it as far as getting a little crazy. That's fine. That's nothing terrible. But just if you're gonna go slapstick, kind of crazy, stupid, it's like, okay, this is needs something else, kind of thing.
I view Tony Khan as like it seems to be more he's a fan of wrestling. So
oh yeah, by far, you can definitely see that. Not any mistake, by far.
So I think he would expand on and allow them to be able to do some Hollywood things, but I
Oh
don't think
yeah,
he'd try to take full control of it. Um, and that's one of the things I'll give AEW credit for is they're more of a variety wrestling show as opposed to WWE, which feels very WWE. Like the production, the appeal. I mean, damn near every segment is very similar. So
there's some things that AEW and they need to. I mean, obviously they've only been around for a little over a year,
mm-hmm.
and they still got a lot of things they need to work on themselves.
Right.
But they've come around a long way. I mean, just for where they started, so I give them credit for that. But they got to, long ways to go, and they got some work going on too. But I think that of course, there's people out there ain't a fan of the brand, and of course, you have folks like us and many others who are, and I think they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm not blind to the things that need to be fixed with AEW. I fully understand that they're gonna have growing pains, and I by no means feel that they're perfect.
Yeah.
It's just they're better than what WWE is putting out for the most part.
Oh yeah, I
WWE is
agree
always
with
going to
that.
still be the big game in town, and honestly, I would love to be in a position where I can say, I'm not gonna, subscribe to the network or whatever because I don't want to support WWE. I would love to be in that position. But realistically, as a wrestling fan, especially ones from back in the day, you have to have the network. They have so much content on there from old WWE, old ECW, old WCW, countless other stuff. And there is guys there that I enjoy to watch. Bray Wyatt and Drew McIntyre. I will pick on Randy Orton until the end of his career, but Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch when she returns. Rollins is a good guy. Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, even Big E, AJ Styles, countless other people. There's just certain things I would like to see them change, and it's one of those things where I'm idealistic in that I'm hoping that when Triple H takes over, there is changes made that kind of feel at this point that should have been made already.
It's like I said, was their last episode or two, is that they need like a lot of sports coaches out there, and they need to open up their playbook when they need to, and WWE don't open up their playbook like they need to, and that's an
I don't
issue.
think they let the people that are playing these characters have as much input as they should.
They don't. I mean, if they do, it's like Harvey. I mean, it's like listen to who's got their characters. It's like they're not morons. I mean, some of them are, even the ones that are young in the business. I mean, they might have something that's good to share. So I mean, I don't know how much exactly. See some wrestlers, they'll talk about how they can talk to Ben sometime. Whenever possible, and they can pitch ideas. I don't know exactly what the extent is of how much they're saying gets input. We're not back there, but it's like there's too much input with these riders more than it is the wrestlers, and it gets to be a problem.
Well, my whole thing is like, it's kind of hard to see where the truth is, right? Because you have people that are currently with WWE that will never say a negative thing about them. And then you have people like Dean Ambrose and CM Punk who are just like, oh, this is what I had to deal with. This is how bad it was. And you don't know where the truth is. There was long speculation. I watched this interview over a year ago, I think, with Kevin Nash, where the only reason that the Undertaker became the American Badass is because